Hey guys, today we will be learning about the rivalry between Marc Marquez and Valentino Rossi, which has been affectionately nicknamed Rosquez by fans of MotoGP. And I thought, just before I start, because this is technically the first video that I'll do on this channel, ignoring the fact I filmed this 3 other separate times, didn't like them any of the times, and so I'm doing it for a 4th and final time. If I film this again, I might cry. But I thought I'd just give some context to why I wanted to make this video, and then also what I want with this channel. So I'm filming this video because a couple months ago now, this is how many times and I've refilmed and how long it spanned over, I posted a TikTok video talking about how I thought Rosquez was a bad rivalry, as in bad in the way Mercedes is bad, you know, that not it's not a good and talking about Mercedes, I said it was bad rivalry, specifically comparing it to Mercedes. I said it was worse, and that I said that because that's what it's compared to the most. I also compared it to Prost and Senna, which I regret because I don't think that's true. And the comments on that video were pretty interesting. Some were kind of yeah, I agree. Others were actually you're wrong. And I kind of was okay, fine. So I went and I did my own research because I posted that video based off one clip I saw online of a very sad very sad Marc Marquez staring at Valentino Rossi whilst he was doing an interview, and that just did something to I think that was about 1 in the morning. I just got home. That did something to overtired me who just got off a shift in hospitality who closed, okay, and that made me sad. And so I posted that video, and here we are. And so yeah, so I thought I would do a deep dive and draw my own actual educated conclusions instead of what I thought with absolutely no context other than that sad video. And I thought, as I'm doing this deep dive myself, why not take it as a chance to also try and educate others, which, moving on, is kind of what I want for this channel. I want it to be a place where people can learn about motorsports because, oh my god, motorsport, specifically Formula 1, which is specifically what I'm into in motorsport, but this year I've challenged myself to get into other motorsports, starting with Formula E. It is so toxic, especially Formula 1. It's if you get into it any other way, apart from, being, watching it the second you were born, you're, automatically hated by half the fandom. And I'm, half the fandom that hates you are grown men, and I'm what are you doing? People find sports in different ways. Okay, fine. I got into it through it's TikTok videos and Drive to Survive. Doesn't mean I'm not a proper fan. Okay, I would not be spending as much money as I have on Formula 1 if I only liked it because of Drive to Survive. Okay, also, I need to speak to you for a minute. Drive to Survive, yes, dramaticized, because it's a docu-series made by Netflix. Okay, it's not true to form, okay? However, it is educational. It does give you the basics of what Formula 1 is. And, people are oh, but Will Buxton, that's really silly, and qualifying determines where you are on the race. Well, that's something you gotta learn, Yeah, it sounds obvious, but, if you're a new fan, you might need to know that, okay? So you need, I always say, my friend started watching it, and now she's also really into Formula 1 with, like I am, and I've always said to her, watch it with a pinch of salt, okay? Don't take all of it to be the truth, because they do paint people as villains and heroes and everything to keep views high, pretty much. But you can learn about Formula 1 through it, okay? I defend it. I don't love it, but I defend it. Okay, anyway. Regarding that, I want this channel to be a safe space for any motorsport fans, especially new ones, so they can learn about motorsports and everything. And like I said, Formula 1 and Formula E are the ones that I'm learning mostly about now, but I'm also going to do a little series, which is what this video is, on motorsport rivalries. So that can be motorsport, and be rivalries within MotoGP, Formula 1, Formula E, or even things like NASCAR. You've got the British Touring Championship. I don't know what other motorsports are there. So many, but I've forgotten all of them. You know, all of the other ones. And if someone says it, and I will want to do it out of my own kind of ideas, my own brain, I will do a little like basics video, and then I'm open to almost turn each one into a series. So it's like a, I don't know, Formula 1 basics, or I'll say Formula E basics because I actually have that one planned. Formula E basics, and kind of like everything you need to know, and then I'll go into kind of like deeper ones, okay? And I want this to be a place where people can learn more about this little area of sports along with me, because I will be learning as I go. And most importantly, I want it to be safe. Like, I don't want people to be hated on for the ways that they got into motorsports and stuff. Like, if you got into it through an edit of Charles Leclerc, welcome, okay? If you have been watching it since you were born, welcome as well, okay? Don't argue, because if you argue, I will cry. Anyway, starting with video, after that, like, 10-minute long intro, we're going to be starting with small summaries of the two MotoGP riders' careers, starting with Valentino Rossi. So Rossi was born in Italy in 1979 and debuted in motorcycle racing in 1996 at 17 years old. He proceeded to win the 1997 125cc championship. CC, I learned, means cubic centimeters. Don't ask me to explain further than that because I do not understand that explanation. I did read it. I did try my best to get to grips to it, but I didn't understand it. But it means cubic centimeters. It has something to do with the engines or something. Okay. The 1999 250cc championship, the 2001 500cc championship, and then the 2002, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 9 MotoGP championships. And he is the only rider in history to do that, which is very impressive and very cool, and I applaud him for it. And then due to those successes, in his whole racing career, including all the like 125cc like junior championships almost, he had raced, past tense because he's retired, not because he's dead. He had raced in 432 races, got 65 pole positions, 235 podiums, 115 victories, and a total of 9 championship titles before he retired in 2021. So, again, very successful career. I applaud him for it, and, like, he better know how good he is. I respect him for it, because I know that probably was not easy. Moving on to Marquez. He was born in 1993 in Spain, and debuted in motorcycle racing in 2008 at 15 years old. I was 2 when he debuted. He went on to win the 2010 125cc championship, the 2012 Moto2 championship, and then the 2013, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 19 MotoGP championships, making him the youngest MotoGP world champion. And in his career, because he is still going, so present tense, he has raced in 267 races. He has got 94 pole positions, 150 podiums, 88 victories, and a total of 8 championships. Like I said, he is still racing today, so he's in the 2025 season. This is something I noticed when doing my research. If he kind of continues on this momentum, by the time he reaches a similar number of races as Rossi, he will have kind of equaled out the successes between the two kind of statistics-ish, and may have possibly surpassed them, which is also very impressive. Again, not taking that away from Valentino Rossi, he's awesome, but if Marc Marquez continues how he is, how he has been, then there is that chance. Anyway, now, moving on to the actual kind of timeline of the rivalry. When Marquez moved up into the Premier class of MotoGP in 2013, the relationship between him and Rossi seemed to start as a good one. Marquez had looked up to Rossi when he was growing up, and Rossi became a sort of mentor to Marquez during like his first year in that time period, showing that relationship between the two was respectful and positive, and they didn't really seem to have any kind of problems with each other. There's clips of interviews where like Rossi's kind of praising Marquez and stuff, and so relatively their relationship started as a good one. And that continued until 2015, when tensions started to rise between the two. Context for 2015, Rossi was fighting the championship against his teammate Jorge Lorenzo. I hope I said that right. I did Google how to. And Marquez had various retirements that season, so wasn't really in contention to win the championship. During the Sepang race in Malaysia in 2015, Rossi accused Marquez of interfering in the title fight between him and Lorenzo, wanting Rossi to lose and Lorenzo to win. During the race, it looked like Rossi kicked Marquez's bike when overtaking him, and that means he is consequently penalised for it. Due to that penalisation, he could not recover during the race, and that gave advantage to Lorenzo for the championship fight. And eventually, Lorenzo won, Rossi was the runner-up, and Marquez came third. Therefore, their relationship sort of became strained and was no longer as positive as it had been, because kind of Rossi believed that Marquez no longer wanted him to win. He was favouring his teammate, and Rossi probably believed Marquez was trying to put himself into the fight as well. I'm going to disclaim, I could not figure out which way round those two things went. I couldn't figure out when Rossi kicks Marquez's bike, or how he looks when it looks to kick Rossi's bike, him being penalised, the race, and then the accusations. Like, I feel like it should be like that order, but I honestly could not figure it out. So if how I said it is slightly out of how like it was chronologically, forgive me, I genuinely just could not figure out. Like, I tried my best to find out, but literally could not figure it out at all. For the 2 years after that, so 2016 and 2017, they didn't really have any public confrontations. They didn't even really see each other on track that much. So it seemed relatively calm publicly between the two. But like, as I said, well, I didn't say this, but the public and fans only know what the media showed us. So behind closed doors, this rivalry could have been hell. Okay? I have no idea. We have no idea what it was like behind closed doors, like, really. Yeah, there's not really much to say in this time period. They just kind of seem to exist alongside each other. They didn't like each other, that was kind of known, but they never got into any fights or anything. However, in 2018, it seems to re-emerge. Marquez is on his way to winning his 5th MotoGP championship when, in Argentina, he attempts a risky overtake on Rossi, and it appears that overtake causes Rossi to fall off of his bike. After the race, Marquez attempts to apologise to Rossi by going to his garage, but he is accompanied by various cameras and other people, and Rossi staff refuse to let him in. When Rossi is questioned in an interview after this incident, Rossi says, and I quote, because I watched this interview, "He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care. So I don't want to speak to him. This is how you destroy our sport." Overall, that shows the public that the relationship between the two was still broken and hadn't really healed in the 2 years that there were no public confrontations. And if it had healed in any way, that incident had completely kind of broken down the trust and positive relationship that had grown again between the two. I'm just gonna say fair enough. You know, if I think like my rival purposely causes me to fall off my bike, I'm not gonna be happy either. You know, these people are only human. They have emotions. I get it. Okay, I get it in both situations, in 2015 and 2018. And then after 2018, again, was not many public confrontations between the two, but it is and was assumed that the rivalry was still going on. I'm sure you can probably find this out because I know Marquez and I think Rossi maybe have done documentaries, and Marquez I think does touch, like his documentaries do touch upon this rivalry. I do not have access to them, so I have not watched them, so I don't know. But I've seen like clips, I think, with Marquez's mum where she was saying how like he used to have posters of Rossi on his wall and like little bike figurines, and eventually like she came home one day and they were all gone, or like he asked her to take them down and stuff. So they do, I think the documentaries do touch upon it. You can probably find out more yourself. I personally do not have access to them, so I could not find out. I'm so sorry. Moving on, the relationship was still kind of broken between the two. However, in Argentina, again in 2019, there was a moment before the podium celebration when the two shook hands, after Rossi had previously rejected Marquez's offer for a handshake in Misano previously that same year in 2019. And then when Marquez was questioned about that handshake, he said, "It was a nice race. I never had a problem, so it's no problem to have a respectful relationship." Showing there is some kind of respect between them. And I honestly think if you're in a sport like MotoGP or Formula 1 or Formula E or NASCAR or anything where you're racing against each other, I feel like you've got to have some kind of respect between everyone. Like I don't think you can fully disrespect a driver or rider or whatever and fairly race against them. So I think there was probably always some kind of respect there, just not a lot, you know? And then when Rossi was questioned about the situation as well, he said it was the right moment, saying that he gave congratulations to Marquez because he was fast that weekend and that it is normal to do so. This suggests that there was still some kind of respect between the two drivers, like I said, two riders, sorry. Like I said, they were still in a rivalry. It's kind of assumed, kind of known that, but you know, if they both have a good race, it's kind of just courtesy to be like, yeah, you had a good race. I may not like you for it, but you did have a good race. And neither of them were kicking each other or causing the other to fall off their bike, so I call that a win. And apart from that, the two seemed relatively private about their rivalry, and the media couldn't really find anything else important to note about the two. That's my assumption, because I could not find anything else apart from that one incident. So MotoGP also tweeted about that incident, so you know, they know. They know about the rivalry. And so yeah, in conclusion, this rivalry is one that many fans say still affects the sport today. I'm not going to lie, I can't completely see how it still impacts the sport. I think I would need a MotoGP fan to explain that to me, because I don't, like, I get the tensions may still be there, but I don't really know how it's affected the sport other than that. The tensions are still there because of this incident. This year, in 2025, Marc Marquez's teammate is Francesco Pecco Bagnaia. I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm so sorry. Who is a VR46 Academy rider, which is Valentino Rossi's academy. And he is the only one to win a world championship in the Premier Class MotoGP, which is well done, Pecco. Because of this, him being Marc Marquez's teammate this year, lots of fans are kind of excited to see how the dynamic between the two will be. But Bagnaia has stated that he's not Rossi's heir. What the greatest riders in history have achieved is their merit, not someone else's. And that kind of suggests that whilst he is a VR46 Academy rider, he is still his own person and can form his own opinions and achievements, and without Rossi's input. Like, he'll be probably aware of it, and how Rossi and Marquez don't really like each other or anything. But, like, he can make his own opinions, you know, without influence of other people. He can be like, you know what, Marquez seems like a relatively good guy, but people are excited to see how that kind of dynamic and the tensions and stuff will be between the two. And if I was into MotoGP, so would I, but I'm not, so I don't know. And yeah, so that is the end of that. The rivalry, to be honest, there's not really a lot to say about it. Like, it's interesting. It was interesting to learn about, and kind of what each of the riders have done in their careers and everything, but it's relatively short because of how almost private it was. There was only a few public confrontations that I could find on Google and stuff. So yeah, I hope that that was relatively interesting and informative for you guys. If anything is inaccurate or wrong, or maybe I got it in the wrong order, feel free to say kindly in the comments, okay? I'm an incredibly sensitive person. I will cry if you're rude to me. But yeah, so I want to continue to do these types of videos on other rivalries, such as previously mentioned, such as Mercedes and Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. I don't know how to say his name, such as Senna. I also do have some other videos planned to do, like I said, almost like crash courses on the basics of other motorsport categories. I have almost finished my research for one on Formula E. I also have a video that I'm going to plan on different women in motorsports throughout history, as they do deserve to be celebrated for like succeeding in an incredibly male-dominated and frankly quite sexist sport. These females would probably be mainly focused on Formula 1, but I will talk about other ones. So I know Formula E have been like massively congratulated, and I agree with this, on being one of the first kind of formulas to do an all-female testing day, and I congratulate that. I applaud them for that. And so there are other ones where I will touch upon it and I will talk about them, because they also deserve to be congratulated, but I know the most about the women in Formula E. At Formula 1 even, and I love Susie Wolff, so she will be mentioned. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, I promise they will get better with time. I want to do these, I genuinely do, but I am quite a nervous person. Like, I am very anxious. I'm very nervous. I'm quite shy as well. And also I'm filming this just on my phone with a slideshow with a script on it. I'm trying my best, okay? So yeah, if you liked it, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.